Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions.
And welcome to Euro 2020. We are going to look at every team going group by group and give our predictions for the first round of fixtures. And now, without running out of sun cream or gilding the lily, it's time to go with England's group, Group D.
Yes, that is absolutely right, Thomas. We are halfway through. 3 groups down, 3 to go. If you haven't seen what we've done for groups A, B, and C, go and check them out and then come back to hear us talk. You'll still probably be halfway through us talking about England. We probably will go a little bit long-winded on this video. But as we know, Euro 20/21 is being held all across Europe with multiple host nations and multiple cities acting as host venues. And this is going to be London and the Outer Hebrides, but we start with the side playing their home games at Wembley Stadium. It is England.
England, managed by Fabio McLaren. Well, it probably could be. It'd be better. No, managed by Gareth Southgate. Ian, they look like one of the favourites of this tournament on paper, do they not?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with England, isn't it? We have got one of the best squads we maybe have ever fielded at a tournament. We've got, other than a couple of areas, namely the goalkeeper, we look like we've got pretty good depth, especially at right back, as it seems. I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit later on. And we've got genuine quality in the side as well. I think the main things that hold us back and stop us from going completely overboard is history. And the fact is we tend to find a way to blow it rather than doing well at these tournaments. And I don't think either one of us has a lot of faith in Southgate.
No, I have absolutely no faith in Southgate. He is the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of international football management. I don't like the choice to constantly play 2 defensive midfielders when we are dripping in attacking talent. And this gives me the ideal time to start talking to you about one of my great man crushes. It's time to talk about Jack Grealish and how if he doesn't start for this England team, it's an actual crime. He may be the most talented member of this entire squad. He is sensational. The media were describing him as a fringe England player yesterday. Fringe.
Yeah, I mean, every time you see him, it's exemplified for England, because when he plays for Villa, and it was a lot like this with Austria last night, he's the real kind of guy you have to stop. So everybody just swarms around him, and it just comes about how many times you can foul Jack Grealish, basically. When you've got the players like Mount, or you've got Foden, or you've got other players around him, that they can't just mark Grealish, so he'll have so much more space. And I really hope that he is used as a starter and not just a bit part player in this tournament.
Yeah, he's absolutely sensational. His left foot is basically like the greatest, it's like a golf club, and it hits everything on point 300 meters whenever he wants to. But it's just, we're dripping in attacking talent. Harry Kane is one of the top 3 strikers on earth. There's literally no debate of that. He's ended up with the golden boot and the most assists in the league for an average Spurs side. And he is consistently the best goal scorer in one of the best leagues in the world. Phil Foden has been magic for City this year. He is the Champions League extraordinaire. And considering that this is a European championship, I am sure he will be champion of Europe eventually. Jadon Sancho has had a pretty decent year for Dortmund. It started badly, but he's ended it well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm not really sure why he's in the squad, but I suppose someone's got to back up Harry Kane at some point. Raheem Sterling, the less said about him, the better. Marcus Rashford, depending on what day of the week it is, he can produce magic or he can't. But in general, teams are pretty afraid of him. And this is just the attackers, like the purebred front 3, drive the ball forward. We haven't gotten into Mason Mount, Declan Rice, Jordan Henderson, Bellingham, Calvin. We have this ridiculous squad and so much depth. It's like Euro 96 or 2002.
There's a couple of, let's talk about the issues then. Let's talk about the big thing. One for me is an issue that hasn't been addressed from the World Cup in 2018. You can go back and check me and Tom's videos on this. Harry Kane doesn't play up front. Harry Kane plays in fucking midfield. It's so frustrating to see him do it. When he does it for Tottenham, he's great. For England, we've got other players that could do that job. Stay in the middle and score goals.
Yeah, no, it's a huge issue. And Harry Kane has almost always been historically mismanaged by England, whether it's him taking the corners for the team, or him playing deep the entire game. The fact that they refuse to use him up front where he's best, and they literally, it seems like, want him to drop into space. All we have is creative midfielders. Like, we are oozing creative talent. We have so many center attacking midfielders, it's painful. That I will give you as a huge problem. But is it as big a problem as the fact that we've taken Harry Maguire to a tournament that he's not even fit enough to play in, Ian?
I think this is just classic England, isn't it? Classic England taking a player that we're taking a punt on. Hopefully he can come back and be, not even taking into account like a player needs to like get up to speed or anything like that. I think it's a massive risk. I think they should have just literally cut the ties and say, you're not fit enough, you're not going. You could have just gone with Stones. And I know he's a good influential leader of this England side at the back, but if he's not going to play in the group games, what's the point of taking him?
No, exactly. I don't think if he's not going to play in the group, he's not fit enough to be there. And personally, I wish he took himself out of consideration, just like Virgil van Dijk did when he went. There's no way I'm fit enough to play in this tournament.
We're down to the final three issues, folks. Right back, my kingdom for a right back, Thomas. Gareth Southgate seems to want to pick them all.
Yeah, I'm not actually really sure what's going on with the choice of right backs. We've got Reece James, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I think, for being honest, Kyle Walker's the centre back, and I wouldn't be surprised with Maguire out if it was Kyle Walker and John Stones playing centre back. But then he hasn't picked him and put him at centre back recently, so I don't know what he's going to do. Also, we do know that every now and then he goes to three at the back, and Kyle Walker has played relatively ably in a City back three. But why would you bring four right backs? And I
don't know. I mean, it does look like Trent might miss out. He didn't look good after he limped off against Austria, and obviously you'll know a lot more of this few days down the line. But so that could bring Ward-Prowse back into the squad, which is a great addition, I think. I think that only helps the squad out. Not that obviously Trent's a great player. Finally, this one's a quick one. It's going to be Pickford, isn't it, in goal?
Yeah, 100%. It's Pickford in goal. Henderson's definitely the number two, and Sam Johnson is literally there to make up numbers. Before the Pope injuries and the Heaton injuries and all the other things that seem to have happened in the last couple of years, England always looked relatively strong in goalkeeper. But when you see this announced, it's like Pickford, cool. Well, that's number one. Henderson, that's Man United's number one. He's had a fantastic year. Sam Johnston just got relegated.
He's had a good year in a relegated side, but yeah, there possibly were other choices you could have picked. I think Pickford just is the goalkeeper. I think England need a goalie that plays out from the back, because that's the way they want to play, and Pickford is undoubtedly the best at doing that. But it brings me to my final point, and this is the point about Southgate, which drives me nuts time and time again. We have got an embarrassment of riches that would be the envy of most of the sides around world football at the moment, but he still goes into every game worried about what the opposition can do rather than worried about what we can do to them.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. You and I have talked about this off camera 1,000 times, maybe 1,001 times at this point, but England don't go into games going, we're going to stamp our authority on this. They go in, we hope we nick a goal and we can defend. We just did it against Austria, so we're patently better than. And I know that it wasn't any of the players from City, United, Chelsea playing, which does make up
Villarreal.
Yeah, Villarreal, of course, many an English player. But we don't have swagger, and our manager constantly, even in press conferences, keeps going, we're not the finished product. Of course we're not. Until we win an international tournament, we're not a finished product. We have some of the best young attacking talent in the world, and your choice is to play as defensively as humanly possible and never take risks.
Yeah.
I'm really hopeful he plays Jack Grealish in the first game, and Jack Grealish just goes off and forces him, a bit like Wayne Rooney did for England, to literally start every game, at which point we stand a chance of winning this tournament.
Well, there'll be more discussions about England as the weeks go on and as the tournament goes on. There will be a lot of you that will have your own comments on this, and there'll be people that think we've got it spot on and people will think we've got it horribly wrong. But please put your comments down below. I imagine that we will get quite a few comments about this one. And we'll just park England for now. I mean, obviously, we think they're going to do well in this group, or we hope they do. But they are coming up against their arch enemies, Thomas. The second team we're going to talk about is Scotland.
I didn't realise what a good team Scotland had. I knew they had Scott McTominay, the greatest defensive midfielder of his generation. Just a gorgeous man who can stride forward with the ball. But he plays centre-back for this side because they're apparently dripping.
Sometimes.
dripping in talent. They've got McGinn, they've got Robertson, they've got... I've already named you 4 players that can all play in essentially one of the top 10 sides in the world. And that should tell you what you need to know. This is Scotland's best team in a long time. Marshall in goal is incredibly capable. Christian Fraser, Franking Adams is a serviceable attacking lineup. I mean, this is a pretty decent side, Ian.
Yeah, I think that, just fantastic that they're there. I mean, they've had to put up with so much misery as football fans since '98. So many false dawns, so many false promises. It's so nice that they actually got over the line, and they did a classic Scotland thing as well in the final against Serbia, where they were winning, and then they conceded a goal in the 90th minute, and then it was a shootout. And David Marshall, absolute hero with that penalty save against Mitrovic. But I do agree with you. But the main thing I think that Clark's brought to them is that it's just a bit of belief, a bit of belief that they can go out and they don't have to be 10 men behind the ball and hopefully get a lucky draw. They can go out and cause trouble to some of the best sides around there, or certainly to the sides that they are equally matched with. And I think that you'll see a lot of spirit from this Scotland side, like what we saw from Wales and Northern Ireland in the last Euros, where they played a lot better than what you thought they would have done. And I hope they're going to do really well. And I actually think they're going to cause England quite a few problems in that second game. And look out for Billy Gilmore, uncapped player in the centre of midfield.
Yeah, Scotland are going to be a tough side to play, if only for the fact that every time they play England, they raise it up. But Ian, it's time to talk about a very exciting international side, known with love by its own fans as Czechia. It's the Czech Republic.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard that name before in my life. But the Czech Republic are the third side in this group. Jaroslav Sliše said it wrong. Correct me down below. They're probably going to play 4-2-3-1. Looking at their lineup, a couple of the West Ham players leap off the page there, and Souček and Kufau have been fantastic for them this season. Darida is certainly one to watch in the whole sort of behind Patrick Schick, who himself is a very, very useful player to have up there as well. They are probably... Czech Republic, I always think, is a side that plays really good football, entertaining, enterprising football. Yeah. But I think this side's a bit more kind of function over style, a bit more kind of look to kind of be solid in games rather than go out to beat them. They have beat England recently in qualifying as well, so we know they're a side that can be pretty useful. I just don't know how exciting they're going to be to watch.
No, I don't think they're going to be especially exciting. Vashlik is a good goalkeeper. The whole team, though, it's another one of those. They play for each other. They're a country that always play with great pride in their national side. And I think in Souček, they have the sort of player who just seems to constantly pop up in the box and just throw in 5 goals, 10 goals a year for West Ham. And he'll be really dangerous in this group doing that, because I think if they get a goal or two against opposition, they will set up shop.
Yeah, I agree. They look like a sort of side that's going to be hard. If they go a goal up on you, it's going to be hard to peg them back.
Now, I'm going to have to apologise to everybody, because we went for about 3.5 hours about England. We gave Scotland a solid 45 minutes. We've given Czechia at least 3 minutes. And now we are going to give the last team in the group at least 3.5 minutes, because it's England's arch nemesis, Croatia.
Yeah, Croatia, obviously World Cup runners-up from the last time out, and beat England in the semi-finals in that game where we just kind of laid down and let them tickle our bellies at the end of the tournament, really. But not much has really changed in that Croatia side, and that might be the biggest problem, really. I mean, you've still got Zlatko Dalic as the coach. You've still got quality players in there, but quality players that are still a little bit older than what they were. They're going to try and do what they always do and just try and control possession and snuff sides out and really just kind of boss games through the midfield. They've got the quality, obviously, through Modric, through Perisic. Kovacic is obviously a player we see a lot in the Premier League from Chelsea. So they've got the quality in there. Again, I just think they're a bit of an old side now, and I think they're just maybe a bit past their best.
You say that, but I'd actually be petrified, because England have this ability to be completely incapable of marking good centre midfielders out of games. We already saw it once in the semi-final of the 2018 World Cup, when Luka Modric was just allowed all the time and space he wanted for 90 minutes. And he wasn't even having the greatest tournament of his life, but because of that game, he got player of the tournament and everything. And I think that's what England have to be wary of here. Kovacic and Perisic are both very serviceable, good players. Perisic obviously has been linked with the Premier League his entire life. Kovacic has been amazing. He was the only signing made by Chelsea before their transfer ban, and they've kept him, and he's done a really good job. And they have the ability to completely close up shop in a game. They get a goal, and you feel like they're going to win it, especially with the passing abilities they have in the middle of the park. So they're a real danger side. This is a tough group. This is a really tough group.
It's a tough group, especially when you put England in it, who are known to can balls things up. I would say if you put another big hitter in world football, they would find a way through this group, no problem. But England may struggle, and it could well even be, as much as I bagged on them, it could be Croatia quite easily winning this group at the end of it. But that is all we're going to talk about in terms of this group. It is time, and thank you for sticking with us. Obviously, the England one was going to be longer than the other groups we talk about. But we have reached predictions, and it isn't just any predictions. It is time for me and Thomas to go to war.
That's right, Ian. It's the war chart. We enter Group D. Currently, obviously, we haven't seen any football matches, so we start with possibly the highlight of world football as England take on Croatia.
A massive game to start for England, isn't it? A massive game to have that rerun of the World Cup semi-final in the first game that both the sides play. And I don't see England winning it. I see this one actually being a draw. I see England coming through, scraping through with a draw in this one. I'm going to go for 1-1.
So real first here on Very Biased Opinions, Ian has deviated from club rules, which is never show weakness, and he's shown weakness. And as such,
if you are saying that is a rule, I will change it.
No, I mean, it already was a rule. You've broken the rule. You're now going to be punished.
I believe you were the first one to break that rule.
I did. I've asked for special dispensation many times to break that rule. But I shan't be breaking that rule because I am a true believer and one is faith. And I have England winning this game 3-0.
I knew it. I knew you were a Southgate fanboy down low. I'm hoping England crash and burn now in this tournament. But what do you think will happen when Czech Republic meet the Scots in the Outer Hebrides?
Because of all the threats that I've received recently in regards to my commentary of the Scottish national side, I am duty bound to report that they will win this game 2-1.
I am also going to be boring, and I'm going straight down the middle in this one as well. And I think everybody's going to be on as even in this group after match day 1. I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
I am honestly, being real, convinced England will somehow balls this group up completely, but it won't matter because no matter who they're coming up against, it's probably Portugal or it's France or it's Germany. So it's going to be living hell to be an England fan this summer. But thank you all for watching. Thank you to those of you who subscribed. Any of you who enjoy this channel, please consider donating to us on Patreon. Your support means the world. Thank you to PJ Simpson, Matthew Bowden, and Robert Allen for your continued support. Please smash subscribe, hit like, let us know what you think down below. And, just keep supporting us. There is also a special Euro 2020 tier on our Patreon, so please consider it just for the month of the tournament. Every little help. We love you all dearly. We'll see you for Group E.